What's up, YouTube? It's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron. My most anticipated figure of 2025 is finally here. So with that being said, let's put him off to the side, and we will first take a look at the packaging that he does come in. So right up front, we have a nice picture of Megatron in both robot and tank mode. That's right, he is a tank, not a gun. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Transformers Studio Series, the Transformers the movie, Megatron, Hasbro, 54 steps, holy cow. On this side, a nice picture of Megatron, his name, Studio Series, Transformers the movie. On this side, the rest of that image, Autobot logo, Studio Series Leader Class in many languages. On the back, a nice screen grab of Megatron from the 86 movie. Megatron and the Decepticons prepare to mount a surprise attack on Autobot City. You have his name in the movie there once again. More product shots going on back here. Someone is holding the accessory he comes with. I still have not figured out who this is the arm of. I think it's discolored. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you know. But storage, more stuff, authentic Hasbro on the bottom, a barcode on the top. The Transformers the movie, Megatron, Takara Tomy. And one final thing before we get to the figure, he does of course include his instruction manual. Studio Series, the Transformers the movie, Megatron, 8 and up, a picture of Megatron, Takara, and Hasbro. And moving to the figure itself, here is Megatron in his alt mode. And topic of debate, he is a tank, not the Walther P-38. And I'm almost positive Hasbro cannot legally make him the Walther P-38 that he transformed into in the G1 series and the Transformers 86 movie. I don't think it is legally possible to have that happen. So a lot of people are outraged by this, complaining about this. It's legally not possible, people. They can't legally do it. And I think I've seen where if they do make him the Walther P-38, the barrel of the gun has to be like bright orange. And if that is true, who wants that? So I'm content with the tank. Hopefully most people are content with the tank. Of course, it would be nice to have him be the Walther P-38, but due to legal reasons, that's not possible. So we have the tank. I'm happy with the tank. But moving on to look at the tank after that rant, you can see a nice Decepticon logo up front, nice rivets and molded details all throughout. He is done mostly in this light gray plastic with a little bit of darker gray going on back here. But that, of course, looks great in robot mode, because that was his colors in the G1 series. But you can see up top, there he is. Nice detailing up here even. Looks very nice. On the bottom, you do have a rolling wheel and two here on the back, so he can roll very nicely. And overall, a pretty cool looking tank mode. And for some tank articulation, you can just rotate this side to side. Now, it does look a little weird when it's rotated to the side. I'm not sure if that's normal, but to me, it kind of looks weird, but I mean, it's a cool option if you want to use it. It doesn't move up and down. I know, so sad. You can not really move the barrel up and down either. You're just not going to get it to go up and down, just side to side, but it can do a full 360, so that is pretty nice. Now, when it comes to accessories, Megatron comes with 4, 2 of which are currently incorporated into the alt mode, so we will take a look at those later. But he does come with 2 more, the first of which is his little sword here that he does use in, I think, in the movie, maybe in the show, but I think it was in the movie. But you can see, nice pink for the sword itself, purple there on the handle and whatnot. Looks pretty nice. Now this can store right there. You can just plug it in if you want to, and there you go. You can also plug it in up here if you feel like it. All kinds of options, but the instructions say to plop it there on the side. And his other accessory that we will take a look at right now is himself as the Walther P-38. Yay, everybody celebrate. We actually get him as the Walther P-38, so that is pretty cool, I must admit. You have your little Decepticon logo there. Looks pretty cool. Glad they included this. Very glad they included this. Awesome touch. Thank you, Hasbro. But you can just plug this one in up here, which is where the instructions say to put it. Or you can totally plug it over there on the side if you wanted. But there you have your accessories. And now, rotating through some alt mode size comparisons, First here is Megatron with Studio Series 8612 Coronation Star Scream. This is the Siege mold, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they retooled anything or anything like that. So, Siege mold, Earthrise, whatever. But hopefully we get a new version of this Star Scream because they are giving us a new Thundercracker with a new mold. So hopefully we get a new Star Scream. Next, here he is with Studio Series 8631 Leader Class Galvatron, so you can see who he will one day become. So there he is with Galvatron, who is also kind of a tank-looking thing. More, I don't even know what you would call this. I would call it a tank. It has dreads and the long thing. It's a tank! So 2 tanks. Yay! Here he is with Age of the Primes, Leader Class Megatronus Prime. So you can see how those two look together, and those look awesome together. 2 super cool tanks we have gotten this year in the main line. And last but not least, of course, here he is with his arch nemesis, Studio Series, also 8631. Yes, there were 2, Galvatron and Prime. Makes a lot of sense. But here he is with Studio Series G1 Prime. So you can see just how cool these two look together. And I do think they look awesome together. But that is about all I have to say for the alt mode. I think for what it is pretty awesome. Of course, once again, not the gun that he transformed into in the G1 series, but due to legal reasons, we get a tank, and I think the tank they give us looks pretty cool. But let's go ahead and transform Megatron. So the first thing we're going to do is just untab his arms from each side. You can see there's a little tab that'll go into a slot on this big blaster piece itself. So untab those, and now it has slid on top of this piece here. So just slide it up, and you can bring this piece and split it in half like so. Take this piece. We're going to go ahead and do this. So just push that piece down. You want it pointing opposite of that. You don't have to, but for accuracy purposes, that's the way I like to keep it. And to transform his big cannon, just take this piece, double hinge it back, and snap it into place. And there you go. His weapons are now transformed, and we can transform the rest of Megatron. So the first thing I like to do is come under here and kind of get a grip on his toes and bring them forward. And then you can untap his feet and bring those up. Do the same thing here. Bring his toes forward, bring his feet up like so. Then you can untab these whole panels. They tab in right in there, and they are on a double hinge. So just double hinge them out like so. Do the same thing on the other side. Double hinge those out like so, and you can bring these feet down for now if you want, and we will work on the legs. So now we need to come here and untab these sections and bring them around like so. Make sure those are up and out of the way, and now we can work on the legs. So the first thing you're going to do is just untab this piece and bring it down. Now you're going to want to get your nail in here and open up this section. So just get that section open, bring this piece in and close that up. Do the same thing on this side. Open that section up, bring that around, close it up like so. Now what you're going to do is these are both on a hinge, so just bring them around and together like so. Come around here and you will see you do have a slot right there for that tab, so that will hold all of that into place. Now this piece is on a double hinge, so make sure you get that hinged up and tab that in. And now there is another tab right there that will tab in there, so bring this around, make sure that foot's up out of the way. Tab that in, and then bring this piece down. This will just all tab into place and everything will hold together, and then take his foot and hinge it back, and there you have a leg all done. Now we're going to do this same thing on the other side. And boom, now we have 2 completed legs. So we will move up right here, and you're going to want to untab this piece from the back of the legs. This does all tab together. You can see there is a slot right there, and it's that tab right up there that will go into that slot. So just get that up and out of the way. Now you want to bring the legs down. They are tabbed into these skirt pieces, so just make sure that tab comes undone and bring the legs down. You can now rotate the waist 180 degrees. Bring both of these hip pieces forward and push them down, and now you have the entire lower body of Megatron completed. So what we can do now is come up here and fold this piece underneath like so. We can then bring this piece forward, and you see these two tabs will go into these two slots right there, and you also have these two slots, and these two tabs on this piece will hold all of that together like so. Now come in here and untab this piece, bring it down, rotate his head outward, and that will reveal a new tab that you will tab this piece into like so. Make sure all of this is staying tabbed together, and then you just bring the chest down, and now you have the chest and head areas of Megatron complete. And I'm going to bring us up a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. Now what we're going to do is bring this piece down. This entire section will rotate 180 degrees, and then what you want to do is untab these two pieces and swing them outward. So get these pieces swung out here. Now what's going to happen is this whole section is going to rotate underneath like this. So you want that whole section to rotate under like so. Now what we're going to do is bring this whole panel down into the back, and there are some little things we want to make sure happen. So just bring this panel down, and you want to have that flush like that. Now what we need to do is swing the arms around, and this is a little hard to show, but basically there is a little tab right there, and you want this hinge to be in front of it. So you kind of have to move everything around, kind of just flex a little bit, which is never fun. I'm going to make sure nothing tabs all the way in yet, because you want to make sure you have these arms done properly before you tab anything all the way in. So you just want to bring these pieces inward, and then there's a little tab right there, and there's a groove underneath of this chest section. So you want to get that behind that chest section like that, and that is how you want that looking. That little tab should go in between those two hinges, and the tab right there should be behind the chest. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with this other side. And now that the other side is complete, you can see how that side is supposed to look. We have his arms in place, and we just need to finish up the forearms and hands. So we want to rotate this piece so it is facing forward with this tab facing forward. Untab this section and just swing both sides out. Rotate this whole piece 180 degrees. Bring out his hand and then close that piece up. And there you have one arm complete, and do the same on the other side. Rotates that tab is facing forward. Untab this panel like so. Rotate it 180 degrees. Bring the hand out. Close it all up. And there you go. There is Megatron kind of complete, but Megatron is of course not complete without these two pieces, but we'll take a close look at them first. You can see the big cannon just has that little piece of red there, some nice detailing and whatnot, but this of course plugs onto the side of the arm of Megatron. And this piece here, you can see just some molded detailing done in that light gray plastic. This will tab right there, and you can tab that right in, have that facing upward, and that is a G1 Megatron from Studio Series, fully complete in his robot mode. And oh my goodness, does this figure deliver. This is probably going to be my favorite figure of 2025. This is phenomenal. But coming in close on the head sculpt, you can see just spot on to what we get in the cartoon and the movie. Red eyes, black up there for the eyebrow feature, and just overall a great helmet design. Nice Decepticon logo there, some reds and blues and yellows, all very accurate with the red there on the side and also on the bicep. Just looks amazing coming down the leg. Now I know in some stock photos this gray looks very bluish and really bad, honestly, but when I got it in hand, I am pleased to report that this looks very much like gray in hand, and it looks amazing. Coming down the arm, just some nice molded details, just overall no backpack at all, just that accurate piece there. Even the legs clean up perfectly almost. Just really nothing to complain about here. This figure looks phenomenal in robot mode. And articulation-wise, also very good. The head, I think, is on a ball joint, so it can wiggle side to side. It can look up slightly, down slightly, and, of course, can rotate the full 360. The arms can do a full 360 move in and out, have a bicep swivel, and elbow bend over 90 degrees. Wrist rotation, oh my goodness. Finger articulation. These 3 fingers are on a hinge at the base and a hinge right there towards the tip of the finger, and the index finger is on a hinge at the base and a hinge at the tip of the finger right there, so you can open the hands up very nicely. Now, due to transformation, you do kind of get a little bit of butterfly action going on. Very nice. You get a butterfly joint, which is awesome. You do get waist rotation, no ab crunch. I know it's a lot to ask, but I always love ab crunches. And really, it's the only point of articulation missing on this figure. But the legs can kick forward that far, backward that far, outward. You can move the skirt piece and get a full split. You get thigh rotation. You get knee bend over 90 degrees. And the feet can move way up. They can move, if you untab it, way down, and you do get a very deep ankle bend. So overall, the articulation is phenomenal. The only thing that I wish it had that it doesn't is an ab crunch, but that is a lot to ask for a Hasbro figure. So articulation, A+. And when it comes to accessories, we of course already looked at the 2 currently on his body, but we can bring in the other 2, and these can store here in robot mode. For he can store himself, you use that little tab where my thumbnail is, and it will go into that slot right there. So you just tab that right in, and you can take the sword here, and you just use that tab there into that slot there, and you can plug it straight up and down, or you do have the option to put it at an angle, and it will fit behind the barrel, so that is a cool choice. So you can have all of that hidden well on robot mode. Or you can, of course, have him wielding himself. It just plugs into the hand, and his sword, which just plugs in like so, and then you wrap the fingers around it, and that is also an awesome display option. And one last note for the accessories: the big cannon, the piece on his back, and the little Megatron are all compatible with blast effects. And now rolling through some robot mode comparisons. First, here is 86 Megatron with Megatronus Prime from Age of the Primes. And these are 2 phenomenal figures, and I think they look really good alongside each other. This has been a great year for tank bots. Here he is with Studio Series 109 Leader Class Bumblebee Movie Megatron. That is concept art. So you can see how these 2 look together. I think this Bumblebee version is a great modern version of this guy. With Studio Series 8612 Leader Class Coronation Starscream holding himself. And I think these 2 look really good alongside each other, even though I can't wait for the upgrade to Starscream. I think the new version of Starscream with this Megatron will be the definitive version of these 2 characters together in the main line. With the Netflix War for Cybertron Soundwave, who will soon be getting an upgrade with the Studio Series 86 Leader Class. Can't wait to see those 2 figures beside each other, but these 2 do look pretty cool for now. Now, I have no version of an 86 Shockwave. Sorry, Studio Series, please hook me up. But here he is with the Constructicons we have thus far, and I think they look really good with Megatron. Here he is with one of the 2 8631s, that being Galvatron, and despite Galvatron being a repaint of previous figures, I do think that these are our 2 definitive mainline Galvatron and Megatrons. And last, but absolutely, positively, certainly not least, here is Megatron with 8631 Commander Class Optimus Prime. And oh my goodness, I mean, this is just perfection. I love Transformers. This here makes me yell, I love Transformers. The definitive, in my opinion. Megatron and Optimus in the main line. I don't think it will ever get any better than this. I've never had a G1 Megatron before, and after this, it's safe to say I don't think I'll ever need another one because these two look amazing together. I don't know how it could get any better than this, and yes, that does include Masterpiece, which is the only other way it could get close to being this awesome. And for one non-figure comparison, here is 86 Megatron with a image of how he appeared in the G1 cartoon and in the Transformers the movie. And as you can see, perfection, spot on. This is the best figure of 2025. Yes, if you're wondering, 86 Megatron can 100% sit on the throne that comes with 8612 Coronation Starscream, and that makes for an awesome display option. And yes, using your 86 Megatron pistol accessory, you can 100% die Autobots! Yay, for 86 childhood trauma. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been my review for the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron. I have zero complaints. This figure is absolutely phenomenal. Robot mode is perfection. I don't even know how you could improve it. Alt mode, of course, it's not the Walther P38, but that is not possible due to legal reasons, and I think the tank mode that they gave us is pretty awesome, and I'm sure somewhere down the road there will be a fan mode to get him into gun mode, but it is absolutely awesome that he does include the gun as an accessory. I think that was a great touch by Hasbro, and certainly will stop some of the complaints that people would be giving if he didn't have the gun mode at all. This is just a great figure. I can't say it enough. The articulation is amazing. Both modes look amazing. Just everything about it. I don't have a single complaint. And only thing that I can say is I do wish his mace would have been included because he did use that a lot throughout the G1 show. I don't know if it was a lot, but I can remember it seeing on a few occasions. The big purple mace would have been a nice inclusion, but I'm sure DNA Upgrade will come out with that sooner than later. But with all that being said, this has been my review for 86 Megatron. He, of course, gets a perfect 10 out of 10. No notes. No complaints. This figure is amazing. It is worth all $60. Pick it up. You need this figure in your collection. So that's my review for 86 Megatron. The next review, we will be jumping back into the journey through the Studio Series with Studio Series 42 Long Haul. So until that review, never forget, don't sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. I'll see you all soon, and until then, roll out. Peace!